What's happening, people? Scarfy Spurs here, back with another one of these weekly live shows every Monday, 8 p.m. I'm afraid I lost count of how many they are now because I forgot to put it on the thing. But today I'm joined by, four here at the moment, and the fifth one's with me now.
Right,
Brian, since you're next to me, how are you doing, mate?
Well, mate, listen, what can I say? What a... I don't even know what to say anymore. I don't know how you describe what's going on. All I will say is I'm really happy to be able to talk about THFC, which now stands for Tottenham Hotspur Football Circus. So, I do want to say thank you to every single Newcastle player, manager, owner, fan for what you did yesterday. The second best thing to happen under Levy's tenure after Conte saying what he said. So, thank you, everyone in Newcastle.
Fair enough. Thank you, Brian. It's a pleasure to have you on. Joining me now, Harry. How are you doing? Another Harry again.
I'm feeling pretty shit after yesterday.
Yeah, not surprised.
So I've been on two different streams already today, and I just saved my rant for now. So that'll come
good.
later. So they weren't Spurs channels, so I was like, I'll just keep it low for now. Because I kind of lost my marbles a bit on Marlon's show the other day because I just couldn't stop talking about how shit we are. But yeah, I walked into work and everyone was like taking the piss. So yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Good to hear you.
Yeah.
Well, Billy, how are you doing? It's good to have you on as well. You debut on the channel along with Brian and along with Tony. So, Billy, how you doing?
I'm doing fine, thanks, Harry. I let most of my anger out in text messages to people last night.
Yeah, fair enough. Good to get rid of that anger. Ben, you're on back again. How you doing, mate? Regular on the show now.
Yeah, pretty much the same as everybody else. Pretty shit when it comes to football, but we move on.
Yeah, absolutely. And Tony, you're the first opposition fan on this channel, and I don't know what I've done choosing the time to do that. Before the game, I was secretly hoping that we'd beat you. You come on, it'd be the perfect debut to give an opposition fan, but for you, it's perfect anyway. But Tony, I know the answer to this, but how are you doing? I'm sure you're doing fantastic. Go on.
Absolutely great, mate. I mean, without being too happy on you, but yeah,
happy, mate.
We absolutely took it to task, and at the end of the day, who wanted that game more? Us did. At the end of the day, we had definitely our worst performance against Aston Villa. They wiped the floor with us, and we didn't turn up. And how do we respond? Well, that's how we respond. We score 5 goals in 21 minutes, which, to be honest with you, I said before the game, I'd be happy with a 2-0 win. So,
what did I say to you 2 hours before the game, Tony? I said that you would react, and we wouldn't because our players, we never react. It's the same thing. Like we react to getting knocked out the FA Cup by losing to, Wolves 1-0 and then losing to Milan 1-0. But no, it's a pleasure to have you all here. Before we get started, a quick sponsorship message for our new partners, SecurityVPN. As usual, SecurityVPN is a premier choice for secure and private internet browsing. With the rise in online surveillance threats, civilians has become more important than ever to protect your online identity and data. Their VPN service ensures you can surf the internet without having to worry about paying prices, which is important during a cost of living crisis. At SecurityVPN, they're committed to providing you with the highest level of private security and privacy. Their VPN service is designed to protect your online activity from hackers, cyber criminals, and government surveillance. With their VPN, you can browse the internet, access your favorite websites, and stream your favorite shows without any restriction. Use the code SCARFY at checkout to get 25% off your first month. That applies forever, so fantastic. Massive shout out to them, especially if they're here. But before we start, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new and keep all those comments coming. I've had loads of comments already, so thank you, all of you. So let's pin up the first comment. We can't say anything loud. We've been through the bad times as well. Tsunami and better things to come for Spurs. And he's joined you. He's come for you, Tony. Lots of comments already.
Yeah.
We Talk Media says, bring it up, Scottish Newcastle fan. Oh, God, there's a lot of Newcastle fans. Probably because they won.
Oh, God, really?
I'm surprised we ain't got any
shout out to Rolly in the chat. Hope you have a good show. Won't be able to watch live, but be able to catch up. Harry the Nightmare, it becomes a reality. Well, I did think we'd lose. Coy says, looking forward to this one. Big up to everyone and Harry, my man. Thank you for tuning in. There's loads of comments. Let's pin up this final one. Evening, Tony and Rowley, and also Harry. So, yeah, evening to you as well. But let's crack into it. And let's start with, well, this wasn't planned, but you would have known this evening, statement from good old Levy about Christian Stellini. So, sacked. Ryan Mason will take over as head coach duties with immediate effect, I'm assuming, till the end of the season. Brian, I'm sure you have a lot to say about this. I'm going to come to you first. Firstly, your instant reaction to the sacking, and why was he appointed in the first place for you? Can you understand that decision?
Well, the first reaction, I'm sure the same with Billy. A message from Daniel. A message from Daniel.
Don't forget the boys.
What can it possibly be? Billy, I've realised it. That Coys he was trying to say actually stood for Cambridge. Oh yes, study. It wasn't. Yeah. It won't come on your Spurs. That's for damn sure. Listen, as Billy said, and I went mad, and I tweeted this, I think, at half time, and I said, you know what, Levy, 15 years ago, you had the balls to sack Martin Yeo at half time. Let's see if you got the balls to sack him at half time now or full time. Obviously, he didn't. He's too busy storming out and getting away from the Spurs fans before he could do anything.
Did he storm out, or did he storm in the dressing room?
No, he didn't go into the dressing room.
He didn't go into the dressing room. The rumour was he did, but no, he stormed out there, got into his car, and woof, off he goes.
He should have got the dressing room and sacked Stellini, really, shouldn't he?
Well, no, mate, he would have got in there. If he'd got in there, Billy would have been said, I'm not getting Champions League money now. How dare you guys? How dare you? Listen, Stellini, I've never known a football club to sack a manager and get and keep as assistant manager. I've never seen anything like this. We're becoming like Watford for managers. It's like literally this guy, if you look at it, this guy has been in charge for 22 years. And I think now, if you're including caretaking managers, he's about to hire his 17th manager. Mason is the 17th person that has had
17th.
Something like that, 16th or 17th manager, whether it be manager and caretaker, in 22 years. The average lifespan of a manager is ridiculous. They're not backed. I mean, I don't know what you can see. I mean, just in the last few days, we've had the Cambridge interview. Our director of football's 2-year ban upheld. He's sacked.
What's next? What's tomorrow?
Now, Stellini, I mean, do you know what? He's actually running out of people to fire. He might need to do an apprentice and just bring people in so he can go, you're fired, because he's literally running out of people.
Brian, did you see that tweet about Chirpy? Someone said Chirpy's next.
Listen, it's got to the point now where...
What's that, Harry?
So Ramon Vega, if you go on his timeline, he quote tweeted someone said Chirpy's neck could be next in line.
Yeah, do you know what? Who knows? I mean, Arsenal got rid of Gunnosaurus, so you never know what's going to happen down the road, because apparently we're going to bring in company because we want to emulate Arteta, but we can't do anything of our own. We have to copy that lot down the road. Listen, this club is an absolute freefall. This club is in an absolute mess. I mean, the fact he wasn't... Look, Stellini... Paratici, we had to wait till the next day for him to be fired or resign. Because the guy's got no balls to do it. The club's been brought into disrepute. Let's get rid of it. Then they have to say, we've got into what could that meeting possibly... Listen, it's just... I've said it before. I don't care if the next manager's the Johnny Green Giant or Captain Birdeye. I really don't care. I really couldn't care because they'll be sacked soon.
Brian, were you surprised that Levy even put Come On You Spurs at the end as well?
Mate, I told you that stands for Cambridge. Oh yes, study. That's what that stood for. I'm just done with this guy. I've said to Billy, and I've said it on other platforms I go on. I don't care about who starts the game. I don't care if we win or lose. I don't care who the manager is. I don't care what passages of play we play. There's one thing I'm going for and one thing I support fully, and that's what me and Billy try and do and get this owner out. That's the only thing I'm concentrating on until the end of the season.
Yeah, fair enough. Harry, have anything to add on to that? You know, your instant thoughts on the sacking of Stellini. You know, did you expect it? And why the appointment in the first place for you? Can you have any idea why he's done that? Because at the end of the day, we all knew he was Conte's right-hand man.
Well, I think after what Conte's truth bombs in his presser, he kind of had to get sacked. Not that I would have sacked him, but as if you know in a line of work, right, if you go out and slate your employers, you're going to get sacked the next day. It's how it is. As for Stellini being appointed, I just think it was a cheap way out. I just think you could sack Conte and keep the coaches on and not have to pay them out to go as well. So he just thought, we'll just keep Stellini in because it's the cheapest way. As for Stellini's sacking now, it don't surprise me. He wasn't obviously the man for the job. We're all in the same group chats, right? So I was one of those people who wanted Harry Redknapp to come in as soon as Conte was sacked because for me, it's a totally fresh approach. And
he would have freshened up the players, wouldn't he?
Yeah, just because he wants to come back anyway. So just for 10 games, what difference would it have made? It can't be any worse than what we got.
He's made it clear he wants to come back.
Mate, it's probably more fun going back in the jungle than managing Spurs for 8 games.
Yeah. If you look at Hodgson at Palace, like he knew the club from before, so I thought someone like Redknapp was a good choice. Like Stellini sacking, it don't surprise me because I'm sure the club opened Twitter, so they see all the people calling for Stellini's head.
I think the board members and the admin must speak to him because there's a similar situation with Conte as well. I think
it's like Mourinho, Conte,
someone
it's all the same. And Mason being in charge don't surprise me at all. I just feel like we've gone and repeated what we did under Mourinho and gone back to like 4 years. I don't know, it was 5 years. What I'm saying is we've repeated the same cycle under Mourinho that we did just now. That's what I think.
Fair enough. Billy, anything to add to that? Your thoughts this evening, because it's still fairly fresh on the Stellini, second of Stellini. I didn't expect it to be today.
I didn't feel Stellini should ever have been given the job like Harry. I wouldn't have done that. Even Mason would have been a better choice than Stellini, but it was like, I didn't mind Conte. At least with Conte, he's won stuff. You expect it. Well, football was boring, but you'd half expect him to get you out of trouble. But with Stellini, you didn't see anything, any plan, anything, nothing. So at least with Mason, he might have mixed things up. But I wanted Redknapp and just some of the fire up players, change things around. But he went for the cheap option, as said. He didn't want to spend money, and it's ultimately going to cost him money. Because he does it all the time.
Yeah.
Everything he tries to do on the cheap backfires on him. We won't get Europe now, which for me, I'm glad about, because then we haven't got to sit there and hear him say to his statement to the trust, I've given you European football for 15 years in a row. You should be grateful for it. I mean, we pay the highest season ticket prices in the land just to qualify for Europe.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Ben, talk to me. Stellini, back in, Ryan Mason appointed, again, head coach, end of the season, but he actually didn't say end of the season, I don't think, in the club statement, because we know what he was like. We lose to Man United and Liverpool, then he'd probably be gone as well. So, speak to me about the idea, what you think about it.
I think the most depressing part about it is I don't think anybody here could say we're surprised about it at all, is the problem. Great. That just says everything you need to know. And like you were saying with sacking his assistant and then getting his assistant in, it's just an absolute mess. And I'll be honest, I wasn't someone who wanted Conte out because I don't think it really matters who the manager is under these owners. I don't think it's ever really going to properly change. But I do think it wasn't really the best decision in the first place. But at the same time, I'm not sure much would have changed regardless of who it was.
Fair
and
enough.
I just feel it's a depressing state that the club is in. And I can't see why anybody like Harry Kane would want to stick around.
Must be something outside of football, like with personal family issues, because what's keeping him there? Tony,
well, his wife's
come to you. I come to you as a Newcastle fan to get your perspective on this.
His wife while he's pregnant, but I suppose she could always stay. I don't know. I'd love him to stay. He's my favourite player.
Yeah,
if he left, he'd go my blessing, as long as he don't go to Chelsea or Arsenal.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Billy. Tony, bring you on this as a Newcastle fan. I want to see your perspective of this.
Would you take Harry, Tony?
would you make of Stellini's sacking and another manager that Eddie Howe's sent off? So, do you think, I want to know your views on it, obviously looking at it from a completely different angle and the situation that sums up Tottenham at the moment. So go for it, Tony.
Yeah, I mean, well, if you're going to get walloped like that, then you deserve to be sacked.
Yeah.
But you can also put it down was, the players, were they actually playing for him as well? But put that excuse aside of the players, you look at Stellini, right? Now, when you were on my pre-match show yesterday, Harry,
I was.
When I read that team out to you and put up on screen, you said, "Oh, he's matching you up. He's going 4-3-3." Now, that was Stellini's biggest error because he's tried to match Eddie Howe. And the thing is, Stellini, he's been an assistant manager, but he's not been an actual manager. And he doesn't know how Eddie Howe sets his teams up. And he's gone in there thinking, right, I'm going to match Eddie Howe here. And if I match Eddie Howe, we've got as much chance as beating Newcastle as they have of us. But the problem was we overran you because that's the problem. You were out. He was outthought and outsmarted by Eddie Howe, and a lot of managers have been outsmarted by Eddie Howe this season. Eddie Howe is proving that he is a great manager. He was always a great manager at Bournemouth and did very well for them, but he needed that break to be at a bigger club. And he's at a club now where he's got money to spend. And we've had to be a bit careful because of financial fair play. So we can't just go out and splash the cash as people may think we can.
Spend 400 million.
No, you spent 200 odd million.
Yeah, but you could still spend another 400 million.
We could do, but we're trying to be careful, that's all. And you don't want to blow everything all in one go. And the signings we brought in, you go back to last season, January, for instance. We brought in 4 players with Premier League experience. Then we brought Bruno in from abroad, from France, who had never ever played English football before.
You haven't really splashed the cash.
This is where the difference is.
You're only the 9th highest spenders. I mean,
Newcastle went and bought defenders, Harry. They started building from the back.
Yeah.
They had the plan.
We don't do that.
They got
the thing is,
someone we were crying out for.
Yeah, exactly.
You look at, you look at like last season, right? Trippier, first one through the door. That for 12 million quid, that was a snip, right?
Yeah, that's good.
We brought Dan Burn in for about 12 million as well, so that wasn't bad. And he's not had a bad season, to be fair.
That was good yesterday.
And we brought Target in on loan and then signed him in the summer, but he's hardly featured this year. Yes, we brought Chris Wood in. People laugh at that. People laugh when we brought Chris Wood in for 25 million. But we've actually only paid 6 million for him because Forest took him on loan for 4 million and they've activated the clause now to buy him for 15 million. So it's costing 19 million quid for Chris Wood. So you look at that, that's great business from our club because we've actually only spent 6 million on Wood. And obviously we brought Bruno in also. But like I say, the players that we brought in that January helps keep us up in the Premier League. And in the summer, we brought in Sven Botman, who a lot of people might not have known who he was. And Chelsea fans were laughing because we're saying, he was useless against Chelsea in the Champions League. And I thought, well, that's up to you. Get on with it. But we brought him in, and then Callum Wilson picked up an injury. And then when Eddie Howe said nobody else was coming in, 48 hours later, Isak walks through the door for £63 million. Well, 58 million plus 5 million in add-ons. And
fair enough.
But we've missed him for a few months because he got an injury on training at Sweden. But Eddie Howe is out, like I say, he's outsmarted a few managers. I mean, we got Gerrard the sack because we beat,
now Stellini.
And now Stellini. I mean, Eddie Howe's waved a good few managers off. Dean Smith, he's waved him off.
Yeah.
Because go back to last season when we sacked Steve Bruce. As soon as we sacked Bruce, Norwich and Villa sacked their manager straight away because they were worried that, hang on, Newcastle are going to get a manager and they're going to keep up. But the thing is, we did stay up above Norwich, who went down. But as I say, this season, we've been a totally different breed. And the thing with Eddie Howe is, what you're seeing now is you're seeing a manager who's able to fill his potential at a better club no disrespect to Bournemouth. Bournemouth had limited funds, so he couldn't really do a lot. But when you see what he's doing at Newcastle, and he's got the money there, he's got the backing of the owners, he's just shown it. I mean, yes, we got the Carabao Cup final, which, was amazing under Eddie Howe. I actually had us tipped to finish 7th this season, in all honesty, before a ball was kicked. But the way we've took teams apart, I mean, we've gone to Brentford, we were 1-0 down, through a dubious penalty.
Yeah,
Eddie Howe brings on Wilson and Gordon at half-time, and the game changed, and we win it 2-1. That's a difference. But Stellini, looking at him yesterday, he looked lost.
He didn't change anything until we go 5-0 down.
And what I am going to say, and this will probably surprise you as we've been Spurs fans, but the player I felt sorry for the most on that pitch was your youngster, Pape Sarr, who was brought off to bring on Sanchez. But what I looked at a guy stand on the touchline, Stellini, and I thought, hang on, mate, I don't think you've got a clue about management, because why are you waiting till you're 5-0 down before you bring another defender on, take a midfielder off, because you've realised you've made an error? Why has it took you till 5-0?
Mustn't concede anymore.
That's the sort of thing you do at 2-0, not 5-0. And, and I just thought this guy's lost. In the second half, we did slow down. And we just slowed down a bit because we knew we got the game won, and we've got another game on Thursday away to Everton. And
you have.
Obviously, the players didn't want to sap too much energy, and Eddie Howe just made changes when he wanted to. But
you could just stroll around after 21 minutes. Let's face it, the game is done.
Yeah.
Literally 19 minutes done.
I was walking out.
You could have been 6-0 down at half time and would have put his chance in the back of the net.
I was walking out at the 23rd minute. The last time I left a game, the earliest I've ever left a game was 20 years ago under Santini. We were playing Bolton. I left at half time. We were that bad. Yesterday was worse.
Wow. That is definitely saying something for anyone's listening who went as well. Feel free to go in on that. But Tony,
and I wasn't the only one walking out.
Yeah, no, you can see there's loads.
The thing is, Harry, when we were 3-0 up in 9 minutes, that brought back memories for me, because I remember when I was at the game when we drew 4-4 with Arsenal.
Oh.
Arsenal were 3 up in 9 minutes against us. And then there were 4 up in 18 minutes. And then obviously that was it. But then the second half came, and obviously Diaby got himself sent off stupidly.
Is that when Tiote scored that last minute goal?
Yeah, and then Kevin Nolan shaved the post in the last minute, or else it would have been 5-4.
That was mad, I remember.
Yeah. I think if Abu Diaby didn't get himself sent off, I think Arsenal won that game. But because he got himself sent off, that changed the game, the dynamics of the game. So, and I was at that game, and after 18 minutes, the amount of fans who were leaving then, the stand I was in, the Leazes end, it was half empty, which is where the level 7 is above. But that was half empty when I was still there. But I'm glad I did stay there till the end, because it was so great game that ended at 4-4. But that's what sort of reminded me for them Spurs fans yesterday. I thought, this is a bit late when we had Arsenal, but the difference was we play a high pressing intensity game under Eddie Howe, and the energy these players have got is absolutely phenomenal. And the thing is, what you got to look at is, yes, we've brought players in, but there was players at the club. Jacob Murphy, Joe Linton,
He's an animal now, Joe Linton. He's incredible.
He is. He's one of the best central midfielders in the Premier League, Jacob Murphy, he's not renowned for scoring, and that goal he scored yesterday, the second goal, even he was surprised that it went in. I mean, I think, because when your keeper didn't come out, my first thought was, hang on, I think he said something in the dressing room, he's been told he's not allowed to play.
I don't believe that he was the injury.
But it was a bust-up, that's why I heard. It was a bust-up, that's why I heard it.
But when there's not an injury, he just seemed too...
Do you think he
seemed a bit coy on it? He said injury. He went,
Bill, he gave up.
A muscle on my hip, and I was like, nah, that's a bit... That's not
exactly,
right.
Tony. Exactly. When they said, what's the injury? When they said, what's the injury? What lie must compute with... my hip. Piss off. He got lapped by
that interview. it was really, really boring.
And then you brought our ex-keeper on as well, Forster.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, shout out to Tim.
Who I don't rate, by the way. I don't rate Fraser Forster at all, by the way.
I rate him more than Lloris.
Yeah, same, Brian. He's better than Lloris.
John Sinclair TV, great channel, by the way. Says big up, people. Commiserations to Spurs. We are fantastic on the day. Hard to disagree there. My guy Brian is the real one. Levy must sell up if Spurs to be successful again. Couldn't agree more. Great show, Harry. I mean, John says a lot of facts in that already. So big up to you, John. Keep up the great work. Let's bring up the next comment. Seth and Mag. Great times in London playing you. Away the lads. Respect for Spurs, my second team. Fair enough. There you go. I'm going to bring up this question. I think is definitely an interesting one that needs answering. And I'm going to start with you. I'm going to start with you first, Harry, actually. Question for you all. Who should be the captain and should Hugo step down? Harry, go for it.
Well, part of the problems of Lloris being captain is that for some reason he automatically starts. So, and Lloris has been finished for me 2 years ago. So,
God, yeah.
2 years ago for me he was finished. So he should be our captain anyway because, like I said, he shouldn't be starting. So you kind of have to pick someone who's going to be a starter. Now, unfortunately, our back 4, 5 are just horrific. So you can't pick a defender. Our midfield, would you trust Højbjerg to be the captain? Because if you make Højbjerg captain, he's going to have to start every game.
I would suggest last season, but not at the moment.
No, I'm saying, but like, who have we got?
The only thing with that
got?
is he's got to start every game anyway because we've got lack of midfielders.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Due to injury.
So who do you make captain? Harry Kane?
Harry Kane's the only option.
The only option, yeah.
Do you remember when people were suggesting Dyer to be the captain because he's vocal when he plays?
Please don't.
I remember that last season.
I don't think Dyer could be anywhere near the football pitch, but we have no other options because we failed to address our centre-back issues in January and in the summer.
Yeah.
So who do you make captain? Harry Kane? That's the only person.
I only go
Billy
Harry
said.
Kane.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Brian, what do you reckon?
Hugo Flapianski has been a problem for a very, very, very long time. I have never... Listen, what we've got to remember, when we signed Hugo Lloris, don't get me wrong, I caught the tail end of Ray Clements, the tail end of it, who was an outstanding, like the goalkeeper of my era, and Billy will probably say that as well, like obviously you've had the Jennings or whatever. I love Derek Torsfeld, I love Robbo, but when we signed Hugo Lloris, the way football was, we signed him as a sweeper keeper, and he was the best at it. There is no doubt in his shot stop, or there was no doubt in his shot stopping. I've got a 3-year-old niece that's got better distribution than Hugo Lloris. I would rather pass my 3-year-old niece to football. And the worst thing about it is we keep doing it, and we keep doing it, and we keep doing it. He didn't learn at the World Cup final when it happened to him. Thankfully, France won for him. He did it against Southampton against us. You can see it's our weakness. Yet we continue to do this. And the worst thing is with it now is we've got a defence that can't defend. So as soon as you pass him the ball, the whole crowd's like, oh no, here we go. It is, I have heart attacks when he has the ball at his feet.
Yeah. I don't know about you, Brian, but Fraser Forster, I feel comfortable on the ball.
Oh, completely. And I'm one of these people that never... I believe your captain should be a central defender or a central midfielder if you've got the character, because they've got the ability to communicate, see. I mean, the goalie can see everything like that, but there's no leaders in this squad. Hugo Lloris does a wonderful job for France because he has a world-class defence in front of him. A world-class defence. Look at him in the World Cup. Superb. He missed the Brentford game. He missed the Brentford game because of World Cup duty and came back. Villa, what did he do? 2 clangers. Or one clanger. Well, I can't remember. Billy, was it 1 or 2 clangers against Villa? It was definitely 1.
Well, I think he was at fault for both the goals.
There you go. So
yeah.
I don't think he should be captain.
He was also at fault for one of the goals against Newcastle at home.
Oh, mate,
he's remember the Arsenal one?
Mate, he's been at fault for
home and away.
The first one, and home and away, he was at fault. But you know what? The thing is, and I've said this as well. Go on, Bill.
Was the Arsenal game? Did we go 2-1 down or 2-1-0?
1-0. 1-0.
And then he flapped I don't know if he was to make it 2-0. I can't remember now.
2-1 with Romero, when Romero passed it back and he went through him.
No,
Slipped on
when he literally threw it into his own net.
That was.
I think the home match, the first goal when he flapped in his own net. Yeah.
What it is as
He
well.
basically gave him the incentive in both games.
Yeah, and the thing is, what I think as well, and I don't just mean this for Hugo, just because you guys are captain, doesn't mean the second that they resume training, they go straight back in. Fraser Forster had done nothing wrong. All right, we got battered by Leicester, but it was a shit show in defence. I'm not one of those, unless it's Harry Kane, who's like instantly makes your squad, especially this squad, a hell of a lot better. You lost the shirt through injury, suspension, loss of form. That guy's got the shirt till he screws up. And I'm sorry, Hugo Lloris shouldn't have been in goal for the last couple of months, since the World Cup, actually. And certainly since his injury, he should not have been in goal at all.
Yeah, I mean, he's retired from international football now, so perhaps suggesting that he's towards the end of his Spurs career. But Ben, bring you on this next Spurs captain. I mean, assuming Kane's going to, can that convince Kane to say, giving him the captain's armband? That's certainly the first thing I would do. It's the very least he deserves, I think, for the loyalty he's shown to the club. So Ben, what do you think? Next captain, Spurs, or do you stick with Lloris?
I think Harry Kane would rather win a Premier League at Man United, if I'm honest, than be the captain of Spurs.
True.
I mean, I think you should be the captain, just simply for him being the only one to bother to clap the fans after that shit show at the weekend. I know people will say,
just that game, it's literally every game he's the only player to come over.
Yeah, he's always the first one as well who acknowledges every bit of the stadium. Where I know people will say, "Oh, it's not the end of the world," but it is. Like, it's not much of an ask for them to just show some appreciation for the fans that pay ridiculous money and travel all the way up and down the country. The least they can do, particularly on games like the weekend, is to at least thank the fans for bothering to turn up and watch their poor performances week in, week out. So yeah, I think it should be him. I don't know how the dynamics of a dressing room would work, taking a captain off somebody while they're still here. I think that's always a very difficult...
Do you think it makes any difference for a player who didn't come out in the second half?
No, that's true.
But also, you have to look at what Arsenal did with Xhaka.
I mean, I don't know if he's injured or not.
True.
This is just pure speculation. But if them players know he wasn't injured, are they going to be looking up to him the way they did?
No, they'd lose.
I mean, he should be stripped of captaincy. If that is correct, I'm not saying it is. He should be stripped of the captaincy of that for that alone.
Yeah, no,
fair enough. Tony, what do you think as a Newcastle fan? Who do you think Tottenham's captain should be, or do you think there's no real? Well, I know what I think, but do you think there's any leaders out there for Spurs right now? Anyone to take responsibility? Grab players by the shirt and go, come on, you should do better than this. You're on a high salary. You're playing in front of. Pray in front of the fans. The fans some fans even travelled 12 hours, both ways, both ends. Just to watch us be humiliated inside 20, 21 minutes. So for you, is there any leaders in that Spurs team, and who do you think to be captains? Because nobody's really stepping up. Hugo comes out and says, "Oh, perhaps we should apologise." That's not an apology. Oh, I suppose we should apologise. I suppose we should take responsibility. There's no suppose. There's no probably about it. Get on with it and do it. It's the least you can do. And I probably didn't even clap the fans either, because Kane was the only one that I could really see, and he had to encourage the others to go over as well. But Tony, that's my rant done. Spurs captain, who do you reckon it should be?
I mean, before I go to that, you've just got some breaking news. Chelsea's in advanced talks now with your ex-manager Pochettino. So
apparently it's going to be breaking news.
It's a done deal. It's a done deal.
Announced tomorrow morning. There you go. There you go.
I would say,
disappointed in
I watched yesterday. I mean, watching that game yesterday, I couldn't see no leaders on your field, to be fair. And the only one I think you could realistically give it to would actually be Harry Kane. And the only reason I'm saying that is because yesterday, which you've took the words out of my mouth, you went over and started clapping to his fans. I mean, he's just lost 6-1, and the feeling inside him must be pretty glum. And that must have been hard for him to go over there and clap his fans, but he's done that to appreciate that they've travelled that distance for the ones that did stay for the whole game. So I think in some ways you would probably tend to want to give it to Harry Kane.
I think it's the least he deserves right now.
There's nobody else out there who you look at and you think, well, you know, who else could take that? I mean, yeah, I was going to ask you all a question because you're, you know, all the Spurs fans there. So
yeah, go for it.
I said to a few of my Newcastle mates yesterday, and I said, look, I said, look, Lloris is 36. I think he's finished now completely in football. I think he's finished. Do you actually think now he's completely finished as a goalkeeper?
Absolutely. I thought we finished 2 years ago, so.
I wouldn't say 2 years ago. He was definitely finished last year.
Yeah, I think he's been. I definitely think he was in decline for a while.
I think he was capable 2 years ago, but last year and this year, yeah. Well,
I know it sounded really harsh, but the first time I saw Hugo declining was, you know, when we lost to Man United in that semi-final at Wembley in the FA Cup.
Yeah.
You know, that goal in from Sanchez.
But Harry, what you got to look at as well, though. I want Hugo gone. I want Hugo out. But what you've got to remember is he was brilliant for France in the World Cup, as was Romero for Argentina.
Yeah.
But they come here. If we had, and as Billy said, we've needed centre backs for ages. We've needed a solid base for ages to protect him and leave him to what he's good at. And incredible out on his day, shot stopping. If we had, let's just say, a Botman and even an Anderson, a Joaquim Anderson from Crystal Palace, next to a Romero, to give him that.
It'd be fabulous.
Then you're protecting Hugo. Listen, I want him gone. I do want him gone. It's time. Thank you for your service. Thank you for at the start of his career at Spurs.
He was brilliant. He was brilliant.
He kept us in games. He won. When they talk about Schmeichel saving us points, holy crap, did this man save us points? But it's now to the point where we haven't got the protection for him. So he's having so much come on top of him, and he still wants to play from the back. Listen, I agree with Billy. He was done last year, but he's not got the defence to help him, which is exposing him.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you.
Harry, who's your opinion? You said you had your opinion of captain. Who would that be then? Who's yours?
Oh, mine. Oh, do you mean Harry here or Harry?
Harry Scarf.
Yeah.
It's good.
Sorry.
For me, there's no leaders out there. It's sad, really, because the money the players get paid, you'd hope that we'd have at least one in that whole entire squad or on the pitch who would have the audacity to kind of speak up, right? Completely different level, right? But in football, I love speaking up. I love that vocal part of it. We just have nobody, sadly, who does that. For me, Kane, is the least he deserves. The only way you can keep him at Spurs, I think, is potentially giving him that captain's armband. I mean, I think you're going to have to do a lot. Kane's been let down by this club and these owners, this board, and Levy. But the very least they can do is turn around and say, look, we're sorry, here's the captain's armband, take it or leave it. That's the very least for me they can do. But I'm going to ask you one more question before we get the hundreds of questions put forward by people for the podcast. It's literally loads. I'm impressed at how many they are, so appreciate it, guys. So stay tuned and we will answer them. But I am going to ask you, and I'm going to start with you, Billy. I want to know, do you think, because you went as well, so I think it's a perfect question to ask you, do you think Spurs should fund every single fan who went to that game, right? I'm someone who said a lot of times, I don't think the fans should be refunded, right? But to some people travelled over 12 hours in the end, right, Billy? And, to go and watch that, I mean, the game was over in 19 minutes and during a cost of living crisis as well. I think they have to at least consider it. I want to know what you think, Billy. As someone who went,
it would be a lovely gesture, but I choose to.
Whether it's going to happen is another thing.
Football, but I can't expect him to do it. But they should do something. They should do something. But I just don't expect it. If I'm 100% honest with you, he treats the fans with contempt anyway. I mean, I don't know if you remember the Bournemouth game, home game, when it was delayed. He didn't. The tannoy said to the customers, the kickoff's delayed 15 minutes, not the fans. So with client reference numbers,
I didn't even know that, Bill.
So I don't expect.
Yeah, I wasn't there. So
should he? Yes, but maybe some of the players could take responsibility and chip in and offer the
take it out of the players'
back.
wages. There you go. That's the answer.
The players
we take it out of Levy's pay rise.
Well, that'd be nice. $500,000 a year, highest paid chairman in the Premier League. What for? But Brian, I'm going to ask you that question.
He claims it's his responsibility, so.
I'm just going to add to this. And people
we all know your thoughts on the club, the way it's run. So I want to know what you think of this, because I think they should refund them.
Not only should they refund them, I'm going to show Daniel Levy up for the fool that he is. We are the 8th richest club in the world. People remember a certain game where Jermaine Defoe scored 5 goals. We scored 9. We beat Wigan 9-1. Now, no disrespect to Wigan Football Club. They ain't anywhere near the size of Tottenham Hotspur. Their chairman, as soon as the people on the way home, the first thing he said is every single fan that went to that game, show me your ticket price and your travel price, and we are refunding you as a club because of that. All right, it was 9-1, not 5-1.
For me, it's just decency.
It was 6-1 anyway, Brian.
6-1. Sorry, so we're getting close to there. Thank you, Billy. Thank you.
But then we were much bigger team than Wigan are, so 6-1's quite just as embarrassing.
Exactly. But the first thing David Whelan did, a club who are struggling right now, who are always strugglers in the Premier League, a couple of times they avoided a relegation scrap and were lower mid-table. But the very first thing that man did with a common bit of decency is come out and address the fans. Not I'm going to send out a tweet. Not I'll get my PA to do this. He got him, the manager, and the captain to come out and say, sorry, guys, this was totally unacceptable. And Wigan to London is closer. This is also before the £30 cap on tickets. So I never know what an away ticket to Tottenham was back in the day, but you're probably looking at about 50 or 60 quid.
Depends where you went. It was anything up to 60, 70 quid.
So there you go, Bill. For up to 56, 70 quid. The very first thing David Whelan did, who was a great man, actually, when it came to Wigan and the football club.
He was an ex-footballer, remember?
Well, the thing is as well, Billy, I watched the show. This was years ago, but I watched it recently again with Alan Sugar. They're talking about the Premier League bubble bursting. David Whelan lent Wigan £180 million and said, no interest, pay me back. Obviously, I want my money back, but there's absolutely no interest. This is to help you, the club I love, the club I support. Can you see? Yeah. The fact that the club haven't done anything, I don't expect them to refund accommodation or travel. As Billy said, the fans make the choice to go and support their team. But they have to go through that. And people left Newcastle, whether they left early, whether they left at full time, whether they stayed in Newcastle for a bit, they've either taken an extra day holiday today or got back at stupid o'clock in the morning. And some people get up for 5, 6 in the morning to go to work tomorrow.
I saw people today that it took them 14 hours, there and back. I mean, it's crazy.
Tottenham Hotspur players get home and Levy, of course, and all that. They either flew home, got first-class train home, or that beautiful long coach where, let me tell you, it's no megabus what they go on. They get the creme de la creme. They get in about 2, 3 in the morning. Yeah, well, guys, have a day off. Lay down in your multi-million-pound mansions, in your bloody expensive Duxaria Spurs-sponsored bed. Relax, little tushies. You ran around. You walked for 90 minutes. Take a
Some
little
of them
seat.
didn't even do that.
Relax. Don't come in today. And if you do come in today, come and use our blooming training complex for a nice swim, a nice massage. Have a little rub down. You do that, and then we'll tweet back to work tomorrow whilst all these people have spent in this current climate and in this club. Do you know what? Just on every single level, on a humane level, on a dignity level, on a business level, they suck. Yep. They suck. And the fact they haven't done anything, people like Billy, and I'm going to use Billy here as my reference because obviously he's here. I've known Billy now for 2 and a bit years. This man travels up and down the country, across the world, mainly Europe, obviously when we're fortunate enough to go there. Money on hotels, travel, tickets, flat, whatever. He does it all. Does it all for his love for the club. Tottenham Hotspur, we love Tottenham Hotspur. Tottenham Hotspur don't love us.
Yeah.
And it's not fair that people like Billy and the thousands of other away fans that travel everywhere get treated like this. It's an absolute disgrace from the club.
Yeah. Couldn't
So
agree
the
more.
question, yes, they should be refunded.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. You say that to the end. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I mean, you've got to refund them. It's just decency. But Ben, you got anything to add on to that before I come to get Tony's thoughts?
No, I completely agree with everything that was said. It's just, like you say, Brian, that's about Billy. It's just ridiculous. There's no sort of feel of empathy. Like in the statement, for example, earlier, you couldn't really read a more plastic and unsympathetic thing if you tried. And I almost felt the Comedy Spurs at the end was a bit of an insult more than anything. It was just a pathetic attempt to try and seem like a people's man, or like in one of his other things, he was talking about our amazing loyal supporters. I was like, you don't give a fuck about us. You don't give two shits. All you care about is the money that's in your pocket. So you couldn't care who it came from as long as they get the money. So
someone's told him he's here. Try and be nice to the fans. Try and pretend you like them and care about them. We know you don't. Just say patronising words.
But there are clubs with less money than us, like Leicester, treating their fans better. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Give them a lot more to look after them. Yeah.
I've got a friend who was there, who's a Leicester fan. Bill, it was the anniversary of his the tragic chairman that died either his birthday or it wasn't his death. That was in October or November, so it was his birthday. So every year they say have a free pint and a burger on us. And what did we get after COVID? A free God-style cheeseburger. Nice.
Or 50% discount at the Spurs store in your emails. Or something like that.
If you guys ever notice, or do you think it's just coincidence that after we lose all the club sales and you get the emails? Reduce prices, but when we win, it's not there. That they save it for when we lose. They'll make you feel better. Spend £100 and we'll give you £2 off. But Tony, I'll give you. I want to know your thoughts. I want to know bring you in on this because Newcastle fan is interesting. Do you think every Spurs fan there should be refunded, considering how long, especially some of them, travelled, cost of living crisis? People, you've got bills, you've got everything through the roof, and people will be worried about the money. Brian used a perfect example with Billy. Travels everywhere around the world. When we go there, for example, in Europe, hotel, travel, tickets, it's a lot. So do you think the minimum the club can do is refund the prices, or is it just not for you, Tony? Do you believe in more of an apology?
No, I think when you've seen a lackluster display like that, then I think if you're as a club, if you are embarrassed, you do go out there and you do turn around and say, right, we're sorry for the shit show we put on yesterday. There's a refund, for your travel, for your ticket for and. It should come out the players' wage, bringing out the players' wages as well, and just say, look, we're giving a refund, and I mean, it's just it's a bit, it's not right, really. I mean, yesterday, like I say, you look at the second goal Joe Linton scores, right? Now, if you look at your defender, Pedro Porro, who, by the way, I don't rate him one bit. I think he's quite poor as a defender. Now, if you watch him, he sees Joe Linton on the left. For the first goal, he sees Joe Linton on the left, right? So he's looking at Joe Linton. So then he turns his head to see where the ball's coming, but the ball goes to Joe Linton, and he totally loses Joe Linton. And that's how Joe Linton gets in the box and has that shot, which is then parried out and Murphy scores. And even for the second goal, Pedro Porro was probably at fault for that as well. He saw Joe Linton again, but, Joe Linton was clever enough to arch his run and get round and
beat
the offside trap.
Tony? Do you reckon Porro needs time? You look at it from a different perspective. You look at a player who's come in, got to adapt to the physicality and speed of the English game in the Premier League. Is a high standard. Or do you just think, you get paid enough, crack on with it, or you should be doing better? Do you not see that it's going to work out potentially for you? Look at it in a Newcastle fan's perspective.
you've got him on loan, haven't you? With a view to, is it a £45 million?
No, I think we've got to buy him.
I think it's obligation.
I think it's an obligation, so we have to
deal.
basically buy him.
But I look at that and think 45
By the way,
million.
Levy will say it's a new signing. Die new contract. Die new contract and signing Porro permanently, signing Kulusevski permanently. He will go. That's a transfer window gone. 3 new signings for you.
But one question I do want to ask you all is Spurs fans, right? And I'll kick it off for you first, Harry. Harry Scarf, by the way. Right. Now, you've got a big game on Thursday. Man United at the Tottenham Stadium. Now,
I don't. Yeah.
Now, I don't know how many of you will go on Thursday, or if there's people planning on not going. I mean, is it going to be a half-empty stadium? Is it going to be a full stadium? Who knows?
But that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But the thing is, though, my question is, even though Ryan Mason is back in charge, and I know he's obviously he's held in high regard there, Ryan Mason. But do you think that atmosphere on Thursday is going to be very, very toxic towards the team?
I hope so.
Yeah. Won't be where you're sitting, Harry, will it?
Yeah. Do you think you'll see a response against Man U, though?
I might be able to make it a little bit toxic where I sit, but I'll try my best.
And I'll be doing
I reckon it'll be toxic, especially that results a big game. Let's say we go 1-2-0 down. I think it's be really, really toxic. But Brian and Billy, I've got a question in the chat that I'm going to bring up before we move on and get to those podcast questions. From Mighty Mag, a Newcastle fan, I think it's perfect for you two to answer this. Is it going to be a protest at the next Spurs home game? So between you, go for it. What's planned?
There's going to be a protest at every Spurs home game to the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
Yeah. How important is it that Spurs fans get involved with this?
It's another thing.
Let's just say that. I mean, the short answer to this is yes. The second answer, or the longer answer, is I first met Billy when we started doing this, like properly face to face. We did it at the NFL protest, not this one just gone. The year before.
Yeah,
that was everyone thought that was all about numbers. I've got to make this clear. Everyone keeps thinking that this is all about the numbers game. This is all about the numbers game. We've got to have hundreds. We've got to have thousands, which we would love.
It was on TV and it made the back pages. It can't be doing that.
That first NFL one, as I said, people know that my home country is Canada now. I'm here till September. My home city is Toronto. People don't seem to understand the NFL over here. People may watch it. People may enjoy it. The NFL will swallow Enoch whole and destroy Enoch. With bad press, the one thing over there American sports hate is bad press. It's all about the customer experience. So our aim was solely to go there and peacefully get noticed. Well, we did. We made the New York Times. We made other publications. We made other websites on here. But there wasn't much of a thing. Then myself, Graham, and Ryan Isaac started the training ground thing in not January, just gone January before. People started taking notice. Then we were doing it every home game. And then we had the summer of spending last year. And a lot of us said, you know what? We're going to go quiet.
I don't think any of those signings have worked out.
But we were like, we'll wait till the end of the window. And then we'll say what we say. And then obviously we know what's been happening this season. And again, we get all this people on social media making up numbers or saying things. And these people are so silly that they try to take the piss out of us. And the way they take the piss out of us is retweet us, which spreads the message even further. And I'm like, well done, keep doing it. But as Billy and I tweeted last week, sorry.
How viral was my original flag gone because of people retweeting it?
Billy's flags are iconic and known worldwide. I have people in Canada. I've got friends in Mexico, Australia. Everyone knows Billy Carnes as Mr. Banner. They're worldwide. Since we've been doing this as the family that we are and Billy and I are part of, we have got into the Sun, the Mirror, the Guardian, the Times, just in this country. We have got onto TalkSport, Sky Sports, BT Sport, BBC. We have had Twitter go Friday. We have made newspaper articles, and this is just with the so-called small numbers. And what I will say is, no matter what happens with these other groups that so-called say they're going to do stuff, and there's been before, I'm not talking about people that are doing it now. We have been every time where we said we'll be. We haven't hid. We had one last year that said they had 500 T-shirts and they were coming and they bottled it.
That was a hijack job.
That was, of course, it was, Bill. But we've stood proudly together.
The ones now, they're not hijack jobs. They're going to join.
Of course, yeah. This is what I'm saying. This time, but the thing that gets me is every single time we've stood there, and we've been saying this for about 15 years, or myself since Yol was sacked, and now is the time. So we have for such a small thing, and you got to remember as well, Harry. On before I started coming on We Are Tottenham TV, Levy Out wasn't really spoken on YouTube.
No, it wasn't.
I'm not saying it's just me because there's others, but I was obviously going on We Are Tottenham TV a lot. It was bang, 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 bang. Then all the channels have come up. No matter where you go now, not just because of YouTube, the work Billy puts in going around the country and all the other incredible away fans and home fans, you cannot turn on a TV, you cannot turn on a radio, you cannot look at social media in the Tottenham community without Levy Out being the number one thing. So there will be protesting, like Billy said, every single home game, and there will be. We're not going anywhere till they're sold, anywhere. So yes, there is a protest coming on Thursday.
Well, Haz knows how long we've been in groups for, on and off. Haz.
Oh, mate, it's 2-3 years. I don't even know. It's since Pochettino, probably. I
met a fella on the night of the Champions League semi-final. I was talking to his mum and dad, and I was saying how much I hate Daniel Levy. I said, "You sound like my son." He now comes to every protest.
Good on him, yeah. I'd just like to go around and ask you all a question, one-word answer if possible, because time's going quickly and all the questions of the podcast. Do you support change for Tottenham and what they're doing? Brian, yes or no?
God, dear, one-word answer.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Listen, I can't give you... Yeah. Bill, what do I say?
Yeah, I support them.
Okay, so yes.
Okay,
yes,
thank you. Billy?
Yes.
Yeah? Has?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ben? Yeah. Ben?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah? And Tony, I'm going to ask you a slightly different question then. Before we move on, you can keep it nice and quick. That'd be great. Do you think change for Tottenham Hotspur Football Club is needed, and how desperately for you?
I think you need it because I think Daniel Levy reminds me a lot of, not obviously as much as Mike Ashley, but he does remind me a bit of him. But
Tony, who's worse? If you don't mind me asking, who do you think's worse, Ashley?
I think Levy.
No, I'm asking Tony if he thinks.
Yeah, Levy's got to be worse. Levy's got to be worse because
I just want to hear it.
I'll give Mike Ashley's due. He did take us out of debt, but he just didn't do things right for us. But I'll give Mike Ashley's due. He knew the fans didn't want him there, and he did sell the club and move on. And he said, if somebody offers me the club first, and they've got the funds to do it, then they can take the club if they can take it forward. And that's what he did. And, fair play to him. Although there was a lot of opposition over it. But, fair play to Mike Ashley. Did do that. And he left the club in a good place. Not the best place, but in a good place. It wasn't... We're not in debt. We're debt-free. The only difference Ashley did was we just didn't have the money coming into the club as much, and that is why we're a bit hindered with FFP as such. But, we're starting to get there now with the new owners. But, I look at the both between Ashley and Levy, and Levy just comes out a little bit worse than Ashley. But although I can't stand the things Ashley done to the club, I just think he ruined our great club. And 14 years of what he did to us, 2 relegations, not great. And he really took us back. We only had that one good season under Pardew where we actually finished 5th, and that's where really, after we finished 5th, that's where Mike Ashley should have went out and spent a little bit of more money in the summer and invested, and he didn't, and that's why we ended up back where we were. But all in all, yeah, you've got to say that you do need to get rid of Daniel Levy out of your club. You need a new owner. Obviously, Joe Lewis owns your club, but you definitely need new ownership in that club. But it's whether Daniel Levy and Joe Lewis will up sticks and go. That's the other part of it, and it all depends how much debt your club's in as well.
But Tony, can I say to you, the other thing about this is what you've got to
The
remember
thing
is
is,
Mike
Tony,
Ashley.
that's actually sustainable.
Yeah, but Mike Ashley said to you, the one thing I'll give Mike Ashley credit for is he told you there's no money and you're not signing players. He's like, there's no money, there's no money, there's no money, there's no money. We get told that it's been ring fenced the way when we're building the stadium that this doesn't affect transfers. Then we go 18 months without signing one. Then we spend 500 million, but he won't listen to the people that he employs to find the people. So we get barefaced lied to. Mike Ashley, and like I said, this isn't me saying that Levy's what I know what Mike Ashley put you through, but the one thing I will say with Mike Ashley is he constantly kept telling you there's no money, which is disgraceful for a chairman of a football club to say. But at least, you know what? You hated him.
At least he's honest.
But he said to you, listen, nope, I'm not putting money in the club. I'm not putting money in the club. We get told, oh, this all the money, you probably saw the interview, all the money gets replenished back into the first team. Did you see our bench?
Yeah.
Our bench, real.
Was there two goalies on it again yesterday?
No, I don't think he did two yesterday, but we had Mundell, Divine. Let me have a look, actually. I can't remember if we had two, but this one we've been putting two goalkeepers on the bench. This is the thing. That's the only thing. Listen, I'm not saying to Newcastle fans watching that what you're talking about, we've got a worse chairman than you, but he told you what he was doing. We get told the opposite. Let's have a look. Did we have two?
I mean, the thing with your club is Daniel Levy is I mean, the thing is with the problem with Daniel Levy is he gets managers in, but I don't think he gives them enough time. And as soon as the thing is, what Conte said, right, a month or so ago, he said was right, and he spoke it right. Now, whether he should have said it public is another thing, but maybe you are glad he said this public because it is what he's actually saying is actually come to fruition, and it is true what he's actually said. And whether you like the man or not, it doesn't matter. But and obviously that's why they got rid of him. Which I can understand. At the end of the day, it's classed as gross misconduct. You can't do that. You shouldn't talk about your employers like that. But for him to publicly say it, now, if you're a Spurs player and you're hearing that come from your manager, you should be thinking, well, hang on a minute. Maybe I'm not doing enough in the team. Maybe I'm not playing well enough. Maybe I'm just strolling around the park too much and I need to knuckle down and, and at the end of the day, it was just right what Conte said, but it was probably what people were thinking, but it just took somebody with that figurehead to come out and actually say it, and to actually have let's say Conte had the balls to actually come out and say it, where some managers maybe thought it and thought, oh no, we better not say nothing because, we'll be out the door. But Conte is one of them, he doesn't mince his words.
Have you seen this tweet from David Heitner saying, if you want to read this, Levy led an inquest into the Newcastle debacle on Monday morning, speaking on a player committee. This is going to be funny. Lloris, Kane, Dyer, and Højbjerg.
Yeah, I've just seen that. I mean, Dyer.
Dyer, seriously.
Did you say Dyer?
Must be because of the length they've stayed.
No, Dyer, not Davey.
Hugo Dyer, Pierre, Kane.
Mind blown. But moving on, before we finish, let's try and answer half a dozen of these questions. For any of you or anyone watching doesn't know how it works, what we do, I put a tweet out in the morning. So this morning, Monday morning, and people put their questions in or at me in, tag me in for the podcast. And we've got a lot today, so it's been impressive. I'll go around one by one to you, and you can quickly answer the question. A view from the South Stand says, Friday will come to you because this involves you. Says, I've been trying for weeks to tell me it wasn't Conte's fault. Brian and Billy, can you explain to Harry why it wasn't Conte's fault? Go for it.
Over to you,
I was wrong.
He wasn't given the players he wanted. He was never given the players he wanted. All right, he's stubborn, he's rigid, but that stubborn, rigid fit has won him trophies. Why should he change? You brought him in to win things. He had a formula. You didn't back the formula. We didn't give him the players he wanted. Remember there was a hashtag no to Amrabat, and after the World Cup, everyone was good.
Yeah.
I mean, Harry knows. I was on ease. Bissouma was my number one target.
He wanted
We've
him.
got him. I can't deny that. I still think he'll come good. But with Charleston, I weren't downbeat on Charleston, but he turned out to be a bit of a flop so far. But he might succeed next year.
Fair enough. And Brian, before I come to you on that, I just want to add to that. I think that obviously, I think Conte spoke absolute facts in that interview. The reason I wanted him, not necessarily gone, but thought he was part of the problem, is because he doesn't accept his mistakes. He doesn't accept that he's the one who picks the team, puts the tactics out, although he may have limited options, which is completely true. But I sat here, and thought about it the other day, and I thought, why did I or fans ever think that the relationship or Conte was going to succeed at Tottenham? Because you think about it, neither Levy or Conte can ever accept their mistakes or say sorry, ever in their career. Can they sit there and go, I got that wrong? Levy says today, I take responsibility, but then after he says with, and basically lists every other existing person to do with the club. That's not taking responsibility. That's all saying basically, all of us together are responsible. What he would like to say is, the player should take responsibility. But he can't say that. But he he thinks, oh, what can I do? I'll put my name in it. That's not saying sorry. Like Lloris, right? He stands there after and goes, perhaps we should apologise. Probably the fans deserve an apology. Probably I should, for the first time in about 10 years, say sorry to the fans for their terrible performances, the reason we lost the North London derby. But, he still didn't say it. You hint, you need to say it. Hold your hands. Hugo should have gone, right, I was poor. I've been poor for a long while. I've been poor. I need to accept that as captain. I demand the highest standard. My team hasn't performed and I haven't performed on the pitch either. So as captain, I take responsibility for every individual performance done. I would have respected him a lot more. Was go, oh yeah, but perhaps I should apologise. It's pathetic, really. That really bugged me. But Brian, have you got anything else to say?
Just quickly, I just want to say to Seth Don Mag very quickly. I think we've got our wires crossed here. I mean, listen, I'm only talking about what I saw Ashley do from a Spurs fan looking inside at Newcastle. I'm an outsider looking in, not an insider looking out. I know Ashley was a worse chairman. I'm just looking at from what we heard or what I heard as a Spurs fan.
Brian did mention what Mike Ashley did do to Newcastle. You might have missed it, but he did say that he what he'd done to Newcastle wasn't good.
So yeah, but getting back to Conte, why it didn't work. Listen, when managers are hired, like Sam Allardyce, he's hired to keep you in a league. So that's what he does. When you hire certain managers like a Pep Guardiola, it's tiki-taka, beautiful. They come with their styles. You look at our last two big managers, obviously Jose and Antonio Conte, that have won everything everywhere they go.
But Tottenham.
They have this thing where they come in, they spend millions on the players because they need elite players to play in their system and fit their mentality. They win trophies, they piss off. Well, they come here, they don't get the money to do the job, and Daniel Levy's had a very, very close eye to keep an eye on them. Chelsea for both of them, and had Man U, and obviously their clubs against in Europe. And he knows what they've done. He knows what he does. But they come in and they go, well, yeah, we're not giving you the money to sort the team out. You've got all these players here that we've got fucked over from all the other managers. You're a good coach. Just do something. And that's why it weren't going to work. When you bring in Poch, it was like develop youth, find young talent, play good football. And look at that. He did identify young talent. He did play good football. And look what we did. You can't keep hiring managers, and especially going from defensive to attacking to defensive. So Conte was never going to work if he weren't backed. Never. As much as we all wanted him, it was never going to work.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you, Brian. Billy, I'm going to come to you for the next question. Next question is from We Talk Media, who says, how are we feeling after yesterday? what needs to improve during the summer for you? Number one priority. Go for it, Billy.
Centre backs, goalkeeper,
every other position.
I've still got faith in Basuma.
Owners.
I've still got faith in Basuma. I think we need an attacking midfielder. A lot depends on whether Kane stays or goes, doesn't it?
Yeah, and Billy, do you think we should wait for the next manager to come in before we sign an attacking midfielder?
I don't think we should be buying any players until the new manager comes in, because they shouldn't be club signings, because we all know how that goes. Look at Spence, look at Roden. They're out on loan.
Yeah.
Who else have we got out on loan who was bought by the club? I mean, we've got so many players out on loan.
Like Ndombele, Lo Celso, Wings.
We've got
a massive list.
Reguilon.
Yeah, Reguilon's another one.
We've got 8 players out on loan because we had to give Matt Doherty away. So
you'll come back.
I mean, Lee couldn't count on these fingers how many players he had out on loan. Yeah, he's meant to be a very good businessman. Can't be maths though.
And that whole window,
very worrying.
Over a couple of £1 million, he had to pay that out in Doherty's contract. Could have got Porro in earlier. We might have a different Porro now, settled Porro. I'm not saying defensively he doesn't look great at the moment, but I was told I was very harsh on Emerson. I never rated him. I still jury's out still on him, but he improved defensively. And I'm told he's not a right wing back. So as a defender, he got better. Porro's, I'm told, is a right wing back, but defensively sound. Why don't we give Porro the same time that we were asked to give Emerson Royal to improve his defensive capabilities?
I agree, Billy. Tony, next question's for you. What do you think the result will be Thursday in the Newcastle and Everton game?
I think Everton will not enjoy us come. Well, they need a result, but they won't enjoy us going there. I have heard a rumour they want to cancel the game and just give us a 3-0 win so they don't get hammered.
I've still got Newcastle left in my
last year we went down there, we lost 1-0 because they had an assist by Harry Potter. Just on my guy who went on and tied himself to a goal post. And disrupted the whole game. But I can see us going down there and beating Everton. In all honesty, the way we're playing, we're a different team to what Everton faced last season. The way we play our game, if we do our fast start again, I mean, yes, I know we went 5 up in 20 minutes, and normally that's what we do, a fast start. I actually think we can go down there and hammer them 4-0 even, because I think we will. Yeah, I think Everton will park the bus.
Yeah.
They'll keep 11 behind the ball, doing it the Sean Dyche way. And I think if we go 2 up in quick time, I think they have to come out and play. If they don't come out and play, well, I think if they do come out and play, we will absolutely obliterate them. Because that defence ain't great at Everton, by the way. Seamus Coleman's close to getting on his Zimmer frame. And they've not got. Well, he's out injured at the moment, isn't he? So they haven't got him. They've kept constantly on the bench.
So you think you're going to win?
Tony, you know what? You've convinced me who I'm doing in my last man standing. I haven't got that many big teams left.
And then we've got Southampton at home on Sunday as well.
Oh,
so we've got 2 of the relegation teams.
Your guys are going top 4, man, guaranteed. I think
definitely.
If we win both end games, we'll be on 65 points on Sunday.
Fair enough. Ben, next question. I come to you. This question's meant to be for me, but I'm going to let you answer it. Hi, Harry. Of the current squad, who would you keep or sell loan this summer? We don't know. I actually don't answer those questions. That's one for you. Don't expect you to go for it all, but highlights the ones that you really, really want to keep or really passionately want to get out the club, like some would say Dyer.
I would say got to keep Romero, Bentancur, Kulusevski, Kane, Son.
Kulusevski even.
That's probably about it. Maybe Porro, because we can't say much at the moment. But I'd say that's Basuma, to be fair.
Skip?
Not had a good...
Not.
Yeah, I like Skip.
Yeah. They've not had a fair enough shot. Skip's still a young player. But I would say also, Harry, I've got to jet off now. I've got a busy day tomorrow. So
No problem. All the best. Cheers, Ben.
Take care, mate.
Tell people where they can find you before you go.
On my Twitter handle, you can see there, and I hope to see Harry you on Thursday and maybe at the protest, hopefully.
Yes, you certainly will. I know I always find a way to see you, and I will be joining the protest. So see you Thursday. I'll probably speak to you before then.
I think we're there from about
Big up to Ben. Go check him out.
All
Cheers, Ben.
Cheers, everyone.
Take care.
Yeah, Ben.
All the best. Right. So next question for you, Harry. Who do you want as our next manager? Give me a name. Put you on the spot. I love to do that. So go for it.
Chirpy? I don't know. I don't think it really matters. To be honest with you, I really don't think it matters.
No, it doesn't matter.
Of all the names, probably Onslaught, just because I don't really know much about him, and so I think I'll be more open to see what happens. With people like Company, I'm convinced he'll go City eventually, so I just don't think his heart will really be.
You did there, convinced with Company.
Yeah. I'm not with Nagelsmann. It's not that he's a bad manager. I just think he'll be another AVB if he comes to Tottenham.
Fair enough. Okay.
Brian. Yeah. So probably Onslaught. Yeah. I guess.
Honestly, yeah, he's doing a great job at final. That's for sure. Brian, next question for you. Tags me in. Says Harry, you're a player who's just been in that squad against that 6-1 defeat against Newcastle, getting embarrassed. What are you saying to the fans? What's your instant reaction? I know personally, I turn around and go, look, we were terrible. I was terrible. I take responsibility. I was a player on the pitch. I wasn't good enough. These fans deserve better. The very least I can do is apologise, make it up to you in the next game. I mean, because, Brian, sorry, quickly before I come to you, this is going to be another one of my rants, right? When you go out there and don't perform as a player, for me, right, give an example, and it's completely different standard, of course. It's right down on the floor in terms of standard. But I go out there, for example, and I put in a great performance, but I do one thing that I don't like, right? I miss a chance where I should have scored, or I failed to block a shot where I should have blocked, right? Usually playing defence. Then the next game, I'll be counting down the seconds till the next game to go and put them better performance out there and make up for that mistake and do better. It'll bug me until I go out there and make sure it's 110% performance. Do these players not feel the same? We lose, we get knocked out the FA Cup, an embarrassing performance against Sheffield United, let alone result. And their reaction to that is a 1-0 loss to Wolves and a 1-0 loss away to Milan for all those fans who travelled out in Italy. I don't even think we had a shot on target. So for you, where's the heart of the players here? Surely, that heart, the money you're getting paid, you work hard, you put out a performance. I'm not even seeing that. I don't know about you.
So you look at this with people like the unfortunate thing is we live in a day and age now where the football players, not just Tottenham, but football players in general, will grab their social media to show off their new Rolex or their flash car or the clothing they're going out to wear. I'll tell you nowadays, and I'll use a ex-Newcastle coach and ex-England manager, Bobby Robson, the late, great Bobby Robson. People like him on their watch, things like that happen, you get a 2-week fine. You're like, what the hell do you think you're doing? This is what it's become now. And if it was me at Tottenham Hotspur, and I was a Spurs fan, and I was a Spurs player, the very first thing I would do is get my phone out and publicly apologise, because I know as a fan what that means to me.
After clapping the fans for me.
And even if you're not a fan of the club, you have been a fan of a club. And when you're disappointed, if you want to have some connection with the fans, if you want to have people that get it, you look at our great players that we've had, and I will say great with this man, Jan Vertonghen.
Yeah.
We look at players in the past. Harry Kane comes out every single time after a humiliating defeat because only Hugo and him come out because the rest are pussies and won't say anything. You see Gary Neville, or you heard Gary Neville and Roy Keane when they've had huge defeats. They come out and address them. We live in a day and age now where, and especially at this club, with the culture at this club, where it doesn't matter. There's no accountability at this club. Have a shocking defeat, like we're just talking about Billy travelling all the way back from you. Don't let that from you. There is absolutely no. There's no compassion or anything. And I'm not just saying this as Spurs fans. I'm saying this as football in general. How these players think, best not say anything. I'm not going to come out and say anything. but I'll show me going out for a meal with my wife or my partner or the lads the night after. I didn't get in until 3 a.m. Blah blah. That's jolly decent of you. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. It's a disgrace.
Brian, what do you make of the players? Some players not clapping their fans, because there's a clip at the end, right, where Kane's actually physically coming over and going, "Come over to the fans." And he gestures at least 6 or 7 times, and players are very reluctant to go over and clap the fans. Romero didn't clap the fans. Højbjerg, I don't think he did either. There was lots of players who certainly, sadly, didn't. I don't know about you or what you guys think, or you, Brian, but as a player, when I'm going to put out that terrible performance, right, and we lost 6-1, and I've been absolutely shocking along with the whole team, and been shocking pretty much all season, right? And not to clap the fans. How do these players sleep at night? Knowing that you haven't publicly apologised, you haven't clapped the fans, you haven't appreciated the fans, and do they not feel guilty? Leave you as well. How do you sleep at night?
Well, what you've got now is Billy and Hazel vouch. I'm the king of the voice notes on WhatsApp, and if you see my Brian's recording a message, you normally know that a rant's coming. Well, one's coming right now.
I love your recording messages, by the way.
I made this so much easier. Now listen, do you know
They're
what?
not good when you're on a train. Trust me.
I remember that one.
Bring your headphones.
But you know what? You look at it, and again with the leaving out people, we got told against Arsenal, support the players, make noise, and be with the. And other things. AC Milan, back the team, really give them. Well, we give them all that support at the beginning of these games and make this.
They don't deserve it. They do not deserve it.
And then after 20 odd minutes, you're almost falling asleep, or you're like, oh my God, here we go. These players, again, you look at it when Conte was out because of his gallbladder and was recovering, he's on £42,000 a day. There's people that don't earn that in a year. Forget what the players are earning, which are more than the manager. And even after a pathetic display, you cut. And do you know the worst thing with it at Newcastle? The fans are right up there, right at the top. It's not like when you go to these other grounds, and the fans are right on top of you, and you go over and you're like, they're right up there. They're right up there. Any player that cannot go over of any football team and say, do you know what? I'm really, really sorry, but thank you for your. It's an absolute disgrace.
Sheffield United was the worst.
Yeah, they done it.
Yeah.
I mean,
that was the worst one. Only Harry Kane. Someone told me Heung-min Son came down the other end. Only 2. I thought it was only 1 player, but only 2 players after we got knocked out of the FA Cup came over to us. The rest walked straight off the pitch.
That is shocking. If you think about it, that is shocking.
No, there's only 2. There's only probably 1, 2, maybe 3 players I've got a connection with left at the club. The rest,
yeah. And the one thing I will say with it, with Harry Kane as well, and I've watched Harry Kane do this a lot. Harry Kane does what Gareth Bale used to do, and he walks around the whole pitch. He may not walk from corner flag to corner flag, but he walks in a massive circle around the pitch to salute all fans of all sides, especially at home. I don't know if he always away. Obviously, he focuses on the away section. But Gareth Bale used to do it all the time. Where I saw where
I remember.
And you look at this, and they cannot. And I don't, like I said, that during the time with Mike Ashley in Newcastle, and I'm going to keep using Newcastle because we've got a Newcastle fan here and Newcastle people in the chat. Whenever they travel away, like we're lucky in London, we've got Chelsea, Arsenal, West Ham. You got Birmingham, that's not that far. You got Newcastle going to. We bitch about Tottenham to Newcastle. Well, Newcastle to Southampton is worse for them. Newcastle to Bournemouth is worse for them. Newcastle to most places is more than we have to do. Yeah. And during those dark days, especially with those fans, the Geordie fans are the best fans in the country, bar none. Bar none. So. And people are going to think, and I was speaking to Tony about this behind the scenes, my affection for Newcastle is very, very deep. I have a very deep love affair with Newcastle, the city, and the people.
That's what I sent you yesterday, Tony.
When fans, and especially Europe, like, thankfully, Newcastle will be seeing Europe next season, whatever it should be, Champions League, whatever it may be.
It will be Champions League.
It will, yeah, I know it will be Champions League, but I'm just, like when you say allegedly with things, it will be Champions League. They deserve Champions League.
They definitely do.
You put in a shit performance, you go pay your dues to those fans that have given up like £500, £600, £700, £800.
Look how good they were, Newcastle, especially those first 20 minutes. As bad as we were, they were on fire.
It's disgusting.
The thing is, right? The thing is, when Newcastle, right? Now, we were at Villa last week, and that was a pretty shit performance from us. Our worst performance of the season. Now, our players still went over. Every single player, every member of backroom staff went over to them players and applauded them. We do this every game. Win, lose or draw, we applaud those fans every time. If we're at home and we lose, we go around the whole stadium and applaud every section of the crowd, because that is how Eddie Howe does it. And, even if we went and got, we don't get thumped, thankfully, like we used to, like 5-0 down at City and that. But even if we'd lost 5, like when we lost 5-0 last year to City, the players all went over and applauded the fans, because obviously this season we'll play better, but that's the way Eddie Howe does it. He gets the players are all on side because you've got all good characters. And maybe sometimes that's a problem with some clubs, that they buy players in, but do they do the homework on the characters behind the scenes? Because that's how Eddie Howe does it. He brings people in who's got a great character, who's going to not upset the dressing room, but is going to be together in that dressing room, win, lose or draw. And, and you see it with some clubs, how some players think they're above the clubs and things like that. It's because they haven't got the right character. The attitude's all wrong.
Thank you, Tony. No, I completely agree with you. I think that's something that needs to be done at every single club, let alone Tottenham. Harry, next question for you. We're going to do a couple more. Harry, it's funny because you love me. It still counts. It's Harry. Harry, question for tonight. You're the new gaffer. Who would you look to buy, and the qualities that being a good player you'd be looking for in individuals? So give me names that come to you. Like some would say James Maddison, some would say Leao. So any players that come to you that have the qualities that we need right now. I think
we need defenders.
Well,
so I'd go out and sign an experienced centre-half. That's the first thing I would do. An experienced centre-half, not like we would link with Guehi at Palace. No disrespect to Guehi because he's a young player.
I'd have his partner in Anderson though.
Yeah, but we need someone with experience to come in and into that back 4, back 5, because and until we get a proper leader at the back, we're going to be a shit show. So
I would like to sign when Conte was manager for saying Bonucci.
Yeah, even someone like him, Billy. Like I was saying,
Skriniar would be a dream.
Just someone like that. That's what I would do.
You agree?
Yeah, fair enough. Big up the Dugout Football Channel. Okay, thank you. Next question, Billy. Ricky says, I think this might be perfect as well for you. What's your feelings on people saying, glad we lost or hope we lose as the manager gets the sack or prompts action from the board/owners? Can't believe the fans want the team to lose. However bad things get, you should support your team no matter what. And I never, ever wish Spurs to lose. So, Billy,
do you think I travelled all over the country, all over Europe to want us to lose and to walk out of a game after 23 minutes? Nah, I never want us to lose. I'm deluded. I think we're going to go into every single game winning when I walk into that ground. Then I'll watch the players put in absolute zero effort and I'm not allowed to rant about it. I don't want us to lose. No, never.
Never, no.
I didn't think Stellini was the man for the job, but did I want that battering yesterday? Brian says it's the best thing that happens to us. I didn't want it to happen. In hindsight, it might be something that's good that's happened, but did I want it to happen? No.
Let me just add on to that very, very quickly. What I've got to say about this is I've got on record saying for the rest of the season, and only the rest of the season, I do not care what happens, and I don't care if I get pelted for it.
We're going to win another game this season, though.
What you've got to remember is we've all heard of that expression, tough love. And do you know what? For this fan base to wake up and to try and get a shred of belief back, shred of hope, optimism, desire, if I have to take a little bit of pain for a long-term goal, then I'm prepared. I'm not saying next season. When we start next season, I want us to win every single game.
Absolutely.
Regardless if he's here or not. But it does not matter this season. I don't want Champions League because we're not going to spend the money. it'll be another excuse for why it's not spent. I don't care if we're in Europa League or I actually want Conference League as a punishment, so they can go and have to sit on benches where it's freezing cold and they won't have heat warmers to warm up their little tushies, and then they have to warm up.
Love it.
If we need to go through a little bit of tough love and go, do you know what? You're on your own. Deal with this. Then so be it, because I'm sick and tired of going through this and doing everything. Yeah. I've said for the. I understand where the question's coming from, but you've got to understand for the rest of the season, we're at a moment now that we've been pushing for a very, very long time in Levy out. And right now we are so far up this mountain that the summit. We're put it this way: you know, when you get to the top of Mount Everest, or you go to the moon and you put a flag down. Well, I can see the summit where I'm putting one of Billy's flags down. I'm gonna go. We've made the summit. We're here. Yeah. We're there.
You've made it. Yeah.
And this is what we got. If we've got to take any tough love, then give it to me.
Brian, I know it's not a podcast, but Brian, do you think that this Poch to Chelsea thing might push some people over the edge?
Who knows?
I do.
I hope so, in a way.
Oh, they'll take it out on Pochettino rather than blaming Levy and the board.
Yeah, but Brian, tweet out it's Levy's fault for not even approaching him. You can't put it on Pochettino if he wanted to take a Premier League
He even
job.
said he was interested, or I was hearing he was like considering coming back for ages. But if we don't approach him, what do you expect to do? Sit on his ass for the next 5 years?
Yeah, Harry's got so many hints out as well. What I will say is massive shout out to what Billy and Brian are doing, and they've been doing this for a long, long time, and fans are starting to wake up. It's good to see. I don't get the criticism.
I want to say one thing very, very. Someone has just emailed me something that is from today at 6:44 UK. On the day that this all happened, the day after what just happened, Tottenham Hotspur to host next season's European rugby finals. And people wonder why Billy and I do this. So this has come today.
That is a typical Levy move.
They can't read the room. That is one thing. The admin.
Did anyone see that tweet that Paul O'Keefe said about Beyonce and Stellini? Like Beyonce's way more.
Yeah.
Talk stole it.
Play at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium more times than Bellini do.
Yeah.
I've got a question for you. Okay, right. Well, it's not a question as such. Right, you play Man United on Thursday night at the Tottenham Stadium, or away Tottenham as it used to be. But you play Man United. What are your score predictions for Thursday night? And honest score predictions.
3-0 United.
Tony.
I'm terrible, Tony, when it comes to predicting to Spurs score predictions.
Might as well do it now.
Do you not think? Do you not think
United, I'm going to go.
Do you not think Ryan Mason might get a tune out? Do you not think Ryan Mason might get a tune out with these players?
Tony, the thing is, he'll go to a back four, so we'll get destroyed again.
I'd love to go to back four, but when you've got Porro and Perisic to wing backs, it's not going to happen.
You've got to put
Brian, just give me your score prediction.
Davis was on the bench, weren't he? Davis or Tanganga have got to play left back.
Yep.
I think so.
No, I'm just saying I think he'll go to back four. I'm not saying I want him to.
Score predictions. You know what? I'm going to go for the same scoreline as El Sakiko.
Yeah, that's what I said. 3-0
United.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll have the same outcome in the fan base, just multiplied by 10,000.
I'm 3-1. I think we will get a goal.
Fair enough.
Harry Kane.
Well, I'll back my man to score.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, I'm saying he's probably the most likely to score anyway, Billy, I think. So.
We like Harry, don't we, Harry? Harry scored.
Some might turn up, you never know, but there's no other goals in the team other than them two.
It's
Unless
true,
they bring on Danjuma, who's actually got 2 in 2 of his decent games.
Yeah, hasn't got a look in. I'm going 2-0 United.
I would play Danjuma instead of.
I think Danjuma will play because as soon as Mason was made manager during the Brighton game, he put Danjuma on within like 5 minutes, didn't he, or something?
We played so much better, but I'm going 2-0 United. Harry, score prediction.
3-0 United, I said.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. 3-0 United. Okay.
One of you has got confidence, have you?
No, Tony. Not after that.
We have got confidence, Tony. We've all got confidence, but we'll lose.
What's your score prediction for us, Tony?
Loads of confidence.
Yeah. Love it. Tony, next question's for you that I've got here. Well, I'm going to ask you, should I say? I think it's quite an interesting one. So from a Newcastle perspective, or a neutral fan, if you like, perspective, how do you view the rest of the season for Tottenham? And where do you think we will finish? Go for
it. It depends how you get on, how you do with Ryan Mason. I mean, it all depends. He might have a team. It depends what team meeting he has with him, and says, look, you either knuckle down and play. You're playing for your futures. Maybe he's telling them that. Well, after yesterday, surely things can. Well, you would like to say things could get better. I mean, you've got Man U, then you've got Liverpool away, haven't you? So it's a tough few days to come. But it all depends. It all depends what reaction they get on Thursday night. You could go up the ground on Thursday, and it could be a complete surprise. Tottenham could dominate that game, and probably, even if they lost it 1-0, I think you'd probably applaud and say, well, actually, we've seen more effort today than we've seen for the last however many matches. But I think if you go on the same trajectory as you're going on now, I think you could even be in danger of dropping out the top 7 altogether, because remember, Brighton's got games in hand over you.
Brighton, Villa, Liverpool, even Brentford and
they're all catching you up.
That's 10 points. Yeah,
I mean,
completely
I wouldn't be frightened of the Man United team, because Brentford should have beat them. Brighton should have beat them yesterday in that FA Cup semi-final.
They were the better team.
Man U aren't that great. They're not a great side. And
they're not without Varane and Martinez. They're potentially vulnerable, but we probably won't score against them. 2 more questions, then.
But yeah, just try. But all in all, I think you won't finish Champions League. I don't think, because you're too far away from that now. And the Opta stats say that 88%.
Yesterday was our opportunity. Yeah. If we somehow won that, then it was possible. But Harry, question.
Yes.
Go on, Tony.
So I think you'll. I think all in all, you could finish about 6th. I think.
No, I'm saying
I think that's realistic.
But...
Harry, Abnormal Toastber asks, will we ever see a trophy? And it says a trophy, a second trophy, if you like, under this ownership.
I actually replied to the tweet but I said no, and I stick by it.
We will. We're going to see the Rugby European finals next year. You will see a trophy.
Oh yeah, I didn't think of that.
Brian, you're missing one here. Levy's top 4 trophy, extra money.
I've got a scenario for you. If Chelsea rent our ground, Pochettino's their manager, and he goes on and wins the league title with Chelsea at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Ouch.
Mate, I'm on the verge of actually using one of Tottenham sponsors, Dulux Paint, and actually getting a massive bucket of it, and literally getting a roller and get sponsored by Levy out on the stadium with Dulux, our own official paint.
No,
Daniel Levy would, if he could, take the money. It's 1.5 million a game, I think, Chelsea.
Big up, Sefton.
I will take it. This is how clueless he is, mate. He'll take it.
And Chelsea would have stayed trophy in our stadium when we come with our golden manager.
Yeah.
Were we trying to host the Champions League final as well at some point?
He did try to. When Chelsea had Man City, because they were going to Portugal or wherever.
Yeah, he tried to do it at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
He tried to make a bid.
He's also trying to. Is it the Euros or the World Cup we're in for?
Euros, I think.
Euros 28.
He wants us to be a multi-sports brand, you see. But Billy, I'm going to last questions. I'm going to give to you. We've kind of recapped on it, but Cody says, with Mason taking charge, what looks like to the end of the season, and probably switching to a back 4, how do you think we get the best out of the players? How do you get the best out of the players like Porro, like Perisic, like Dyer, who could potentially play in a different position? So how do you look at that for you?
I think Perisic has to be dropped completely, and you have to go with Tanganga, and hopefully Davis becomes fit to the end of the season to play the left-back slot. Use Tanganga. Unless Emerson Royal's fit, and trust me, this pains me to say, then you've just got to do what you've done when we had Aurier, who just let him attack down the right and just defend to the left-hand side. Dyer to the left, Romero to the right. And just pray that we don't get any more injuries in midfield. Hopefully Basuma might come back before the end of the season.
That would be nice.
Because like, if he could come back, you could play the midfield three of Basuma, Skip and Højbjerg. And I could see Basuma playing the pivot better than any of them.
Big up, Sefton. Thank you for tuning in today. And I think that's pretty much it. Apologies, everyone, if I couldn't get through your questions, because believe it or not, I had 67 questions. I'm never going to get through them, but appreciate all the questions, the most we've ever had. It's the Brian and Billy effect, or perhaps it's the double Harry effect, or perhaps it's the opposition fan in Tony effect, or perhaps it's just me.
It could be a joint
never know.
There
you go. We could all claim credit for this. But listen, appreciate it all, every single one of you for coming on. A lot of you made your debut today. I think Billy, Brian, and Tony on the channel. Big up to Ben as well, who's gone. But firstly, Brian, I'm gonna come to you and ask for people who don't know, because you voice for the fans and what you're doing is fantastic, where people who can't know, maybe opposition fans, can find you and what you'd like to say about your, the proposal Thursday and how important it is fans get involved, if they feel passionate about this and where you stand with that and your thoughts going into the protest.
Cool. So listen, first of all, people can find us at Tottenham on Tour. I also do a lot of work with the We Are Tottenham TV boys, but my home channel, my baby, with a few other lads is Tottenham on Tour, where people can find us. At the moment, I'm trying to get out as much content as I can. Funny enough, focused around one thing and one thing only. So yeah, you can find us at Tottenham on Tour. What's my aims and everything for the process? Listen, we've been working and such animosity, such venom chucked our way, such I don't know what word to say. I literally just trolled whatever. And most of the things we've been saying all along when it comes to this football club are being proven right, and we're now in a position where we weren't even going to go on Thursday. We weren't even going to go because it's Thursday night and it's people. It's not
that
like
result
a
you had to.
where they've got the time. Yeah, exactly. And we have to. I've taken a half day off work to make sure I can get there to help set it up and be there from the beginning. Listen, the flyer says we're going to be there from 5:30, but we'll be there a bit early, setting the banners up because it takes a little bit. Probably be there till about 7. What time's kick-off, Bill? 8:15?
Yeah, 8:15.
So we'll probably be there till about 7:15, 7:30. Listen, you don't need to be there at 5:30, but what you do need to be is, if you are leaving out, is be there. None of this, I was going to come, or I'm at the stadium, but I wanted to go.
Oh, I'm cold.
Yeah, exactly. We're now going to be in late April, the 28th, 2 days away from May. The weather is not what it was in January, where me, Billy, were outside a training ground freezing our asses off. This is the time. And listen, the BT cameras are there. If you don't come to the protest, so be it. But if you're in that stadium, you have to sing. You have to have your voices heard. And leaving out needs to be said from minute 1 to minute 90. And let's just hope that the awakening is really, really shoved into Daniel Levy's eyes tomorrow. Thursday.
Sorry. Yeah, let's hope so. Appreciate it, Brian. Billy, anything to add on to that and where people can find you?
Opposite the club shop. I'll probably be there from 5:30. I'll get up there early because I'll help put up the banners, everything else. I wouldn't advise everyone to get there for 5:30. I'd say between 6:30 and 7:30. Yeah. Make some noise because
nearer the game.
I don't expect there's people who've got to get home from work, get changed, have something to eat. But if you're coming along and you are leaving out, as Brian says, just come and give us some support, rather than be like some of the stupid fans who just mock us on the way past. But
and claim you've got no passion, yet you're the only one stepping up and saying something about it. That baffles me, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, like your question, do I ever want us to lose? I can't ever want a team to lose. I understand what Brian's saying, but this season is a write-off. But I can't go into a game wanting us to lose. It's just not in my DNA.
No, fair enough. I like that. No, thank you, Billy. Pleasure to have you on as well. Harry, I think it's your second time now on the channel.
Yeah, thanks for having me on again.
I will definitely have you on again just because of your name. Where can people find you?
Yeah, so my channel is Hasper TV and my Twitter is Hasper92. I'm doing a preview show for the game on Wednesday. I'm going to go to the protest. I don't know exactly what time I'll be there, but I'm going straight from work.
Probably so, yeah.
I finish work at like 4, so I should be there by like 6. And I can't wait with a couple other people, most probably. But yeah, if you're not leaving out, you should be by now.
How can you call yourself leaving?
There's a
you know
fella,
me, Tony,
sat to the right of me for the last 3 years, who's abused me for getting my flags out and having pictures of taking them inside the stadium. The last home game, I heard him start singing "We Won't Leave You Out" when I was trying to get the chants going. So, and he's been stubborn, and me and him have had many an argument over it. And it was the first time I heard this geezer change. So there is the tide is turning, as Brian says.
It is day by day. I really think so, and I think over time, I definitely think so.
I mean, you look at it this way: when we're trying to buy a player, we dilly-dally. If we're buying a bit of property, they swoop in. They tell us we've got a cinema that will come in that we didn't even know or want. We've got a hotel coming. We bought a new perks and
Whoopee!
Nobody knows about that.
And go-karting. Billy, you mustn't forget the go-karting. How could you do that? Do you not want to go on the go-karts? You're bit of F1?
I'd only want to go on the go-karts for one reason: if there was someone in front of me on them.
But no, he's missing the trick. You can take a go-kart up the skywalk like Mario Kart, go around the cockerel.
With Mario Kart, you can get those little things in front of the cars. So I think that's how I took Billy's comment.
Don't start saying stuff like that. Don't put ideas in mine and Billy's head.
Yeah. Tie Levy up to the top where the cockerel and someone kick him off from there. He can do the skywalk himself. I'm sure he's never tried it out.
Sneak one of your flags up onto the cockerel.
Yeah, great idea. Tony, you are the first opposition fan I've ever come on. I did choose the wrong time, but no, you've been an absolute pleasure. I've come on your show twice now this week. So it's been an absolute pleasure. And we both set milestones. I set the milestone when on your channel for being your youngest ever guest at 14. And you have set the milestone of my channel and my show now, being the first opposition fan. And what a time to do it. So where can people find you if they don't know? Because I know you have, along with a few others here, and a fantastic channel as well.
Yeah, so thank you for having me on, Harry. It's an unfortunate circumstances for yourself, but great circumstances for
Jamie,
me in other words. You can find me on Twitter. My handle's on the screen, so if you check out my handle down there, you can find me there. Follow me, and I'll follow you back. I don't not follow people back. As long as it's not in the middle of the night, and I'll follow you back in the morning when I get out of bed.
Brian,
also,
Bill, I can't see a thing.
Yep.
By the way, I'm Billy the Youth 70. That's if anyone wants to find me.
And you can find me on my channel, which is behind me on the screen there. It's all black and white TV.
It's a good channel.
Yeah, I've got a lot of great content on there. If you haven't been over, go over, have a look at it, give it a subscribe.
You're catching me up.
I'm on 505. Well, I'm nowhere near you yet, Harry, but I will be.
You will be.
I'll catch you up, yeah. But I've got some great content on there. I've had Harry on the channel who, I asked him about a month ago if he'd come on, and he was like, yes, absolutely, no problem at all. And so do check it out. I've had journalists on. I've had a musician on. The musician who come on is actually the guy who sang the
Newcastle under Steve Bruce.
The musician I had on was the one who sang the intro, which is on my.
That's a great song. That was good.
Yeah, I just said to him, I said, "Look, can I use your song as an intro?" And he went, "Yeah, of course you can." Straight away,
yeah.
Brilliant.
I've got to admit, I love that.
But yeah, we all love that. Banks of the River Tyne, great tune. But yeah, like I say, go and check my channel out. I've got a lot of great content on there as well. And I've brought quite a few people over into the chat tonight because obviously I tweeted this show out saying that I was coming on here.
Tony.
And brought a few of the Toon gang over.
Why the lads?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Listen,
guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'd just like to say I appreciate all the support recently. The channel's recently now hit 600 subscribers. And, to put that in context, let's Let's say last 2 months, that's about 400 subscribers gained. So, I'm very, very grateful for that. Subscribers, views, comments tonight been fantastic. As I said, the amount of questions, the amount of lovely comments. I wish I could go through them all. Generally, they all think you've done a fantastic job, every single one of you tonight, and you're always welcome. So no, appreciate it. So go check out my channel, because it feels like we're slowly now on the long road to 1K. But thanks to these fabulous guests here who've been fantastic tonight. The perfect therapy for the fans. Definitely. There's lots out there, but I would say this is the therapy for the fans. It seems to be always on a Monday. You need it after work. It definitely, for me anyway, I think it's definitely the therapy for the fans. But as we like to say on this channel, come on, you Spurs, regardless.
And as always,